service, schools have been looking at ensuring that, a lot of services to be added or given to the parents per se. So Scuso is an edu-commerce platform where parents can buy practically for this year more from a books perspective, where they could buy the entire book set online and we could, deliver the same to their doorstep, right? So practically what happened this year, thanks to the COVID part of it, fortunately COVID part of it, we could not do the number of schools which we were targeting. So practically we ensured that, we tied up with close to 130 odd schools where we could service them or, give them our services. And I think so. This is something which was highly appreciated uh, by a lot of schools because the kind of service standards which we maintain. Sudhir, if you would like to mute your call, there's a lot of surround sound which is happening. Thanks. So, talking about the service standards, normally what happens is, as a part of a standard buying books per se, parents are invited to the school, and then there are some uh, ranging from 200 to 2000 parents come to the school, they buy the books, and, that's how the standard practice goes on, or they're supposed to go to the vendor, and kind of process of number of people is more or less the same. Now, talking about all the tier one, two cities, majority of the parents are practically working, right? So to extract that kind of a time, because normally all this process is done during weekdays, and they get time only during weekends. So now we've kind of add this service where a parent can just buy books online, and we will deliver the same in 2 to 3 working days at their doorstep. So that's the kind of service standards we maintain. Now, to add to the entire kitty or the gamut of product, so, basis this year's working, a lot of schools have come to us practically asking us, if we could add the uniform, if we could add shoes, so that parents don't really have to go anywhere else. So what we've done for this year is we added uniforms also, as well as shoes, as well as other school essentials, where the entire set of a parent actually going out for anything can be purchased via our platform, right? The most important part, what this year was the customer satisfaction part of our because a lot of parents were so happy with the entire thing. Because what happens is, when you talk about a lot of state board schools where a lot of purchasing happens in the month of May or in the month of June somewhere, practically they are out somewhere on a vacation or to their relatives' place. This platform does not limit them only locally, but they can actually order nationally anywhere. Now, basis the feedback, uh, there are close to 12 schools after this academic session, after this entire session which was done. 12 schools very fortunately had confirmed with us that, they're changing the entire process now, and they're going 100% online with us. So that is something which is very interesting, because they never thought that was something which was possible. And they really wanted to go completely online. And also we in talk with a couple of schools where we're creating a tuck shop for them, because all the schools have tuck shop within their premises, right? So what we're trying to create is a tuck shop within, but it is a digital tuck shop where a child needs to order online, and it will be delivered in the school or in the premises, wherever residents, wherever they decide per se. Other than that, we have two more value add services which we offer to school as well as the parents. One of them is the fees financing part of it. So practically today, I think so in this scenario, with all the possible challenges and limitations what we're talking about, also from the school perspective, we offer 0% fee financing to parents, where they can opt for going into an EMI option. And what we do is, practically at 0% we give them that service, and the entire amount is given to the school. So that's the other service which we offer. And the last service which we offer as such is the ERP system, which I don't know if I'm so sure the panelists would agree somewhere that, most of the ERP which is there in the market have been designed by experts of technical domains. However, there are a lot of practicality and ground reality which needs to be incorporated or added, needs to be added in a lot of ERP, which we see as big time challenge. Now, me coming from at least 15 years of experience in the education background and running the schools per se, we have created an ERP which actually takes care of absolute basic to the most management thought process. So from ground level to the top level, we have ensured that each and every part of it is taken care of, whether it is from a dashboard point of view, whether it is from a curriculum, completion point of view, whether it is from a parent point of view of how to kind of go with the, homework part of it, information part of it. So a lot of groundwork or ground realities have been incorporated in the entire ERP system. So that's about Scuzo Educommerce. Any questions, feel free to ask. And that to you, Sudhir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Rajiv, for an exhaustive introduction to what Scuzo is doing, and I'm sure that's going to be helpful to a lot of schools. With this, I think we'll get on to start off the topic of our discussion. My apologies to the audiences for a 5 minutes delay. As you can see, I'm joining the webinar from a car, so it just got a little delayed in reaching. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our panelists, Dr. S.K. Rathore and Mr. Preetham Agarwal. For an unfortunate reason, Ms. Nilofer has not been able to join us because she's not keeping well. And Ms. Archana is also going to join us shortly, hopefully. So I'd like to get on with the the introduction of our panelists. While I believe the two tall personalities that I have on the panel today really do not need an introduction to the education fraternity, but it's my duty to actually introduce, and that's what I'll start off with. And in the order of the age and the seniority, I got Dr. S.K. Rathore with me, who's the managing director of Sanford World School and Sanford Group of Preschools. Along with him, I've got Mr. Preetham Agarwal, who's the director of Hello Kids chain of preschools. I think within among the two of them, they are operating almost 1,000 schools across India, which is something that makes them an authority to probably be commenting on the topic or the subject that we have for discussion today evening. Coming to the topic, like we mentioned in the post word, we are talking about the NEP and specifically the impact of NEP on the preschool segment. And the two guests that I have with me right now are an absolute authority on the preschool space. I think they've spent their lifetime nurturing the preschool entrepreneurs, nurturing the preschool teachers, and of course, taking care of our young kids who are ultimately our future going forward. Going to the topic, I think NEP has brought about a very significant change. And I would say this was something which was long awaited, whereby the preschool education has been brought into the ambit of the mainstream education, which will probably change the entire landscape of how we've always perceived early childhood education and preschooling in India. I think I'd like to start off with Mr. Rathore and ask him for his opening remarks. What is the first feeler that you have, sir, about this policy change? Where does this lead us? What is going to be the new normal beyond the pandemic for the preschool space, and how do you see the industry going forward?
Thank you so much, Team Scuzo and Sudhir, for inviting me on this panel. See, me and Preetham are sitting daily on one or another panel talking on NEPs for, I think, quite some time now, since the NEP is out for the public debate. So, one thing, this is a very welcome move of the government, because after 36 years, any education policy has come for the young generation, for the generation who is going to lead the country in the future. So one thing. Second thing, though there was a need of preschool education or early childhood care and education in the country for last more than 20 years, aggressively we people are working in the market for the development of young children, but no government was, even bothering, no government was bothered to even talk about early childhood education. So this is the document which is advocating early childhood education and care in detail, basically. So this is a very welcome thing of this policy, what I can say.
I'm sure, sir, this document
foundation years of the child is very important. What we people, early childhood care people are doing, preschool people are doing in the country, this is the most difficult job. Making a child of 2 years sit in the classroom, ask him or her to follow the instructions of the teachers and understand what the teacher is trying to tell them. This is the most difficult task in the whole education system, starting from the early childhood to the university education. But it was not recognized earlier. Now, me and Pritam regularly is telling on the platform, these kind of platform. Now we have our own guardians. Before that, nobody was there to take care of preschool people. हमें नहीं पता था कि हमें किससे बात करनी है. If any problem is there, we don't have any department to approach. Even any department can move into any preschool कि boss आप residential premises में commercial activity कर रहे हो. This was a commercial activity, this was an institutional activity, this was a social activity. Nobody knows and nowhere it was defined earlier. Now this is a part of main school education, mainstream school education system. So I think this is a very, very welcome move. We should respect this policy. Yes, we have many issues with the policy, many problem we can see in the implementation of this policy that we can discuss throughout this webinar. But we should welcome this policy.
Thank you so much for your opening remarks, sir. I'm quite sure that's a very positive way of looking at the entire change. And eventually this change is something which has come after a very long time. So it's really, I think, beneficial for everyone if we embrace this change wholeheartedly and start preparing for it, because I think this change is going to bring in an institutional change across the industry. With this, I think I'd like to bring in Mr. Pritam for his opening remarks on the topic. How do you look at the entire changing scenario, Pritam?
Thank you, Sudhir. Thank you, Scujo. And thank you, Rathore sir, for giving this platform now to talk about more on NEP with my understanding. Friends, NEP on NEP documentation 2020 1.1. 1.1, the point I'm talking about, point 1.1, when they talk about early childhood care and education, it reminds me the first line where they talked about 85% of the brain development occurs before the age of 6 years. Friends, this has not happened in 2020. This was quite available. The research was quite available way forward, let's say way back almost 1, 2, or 3 decades. With my experience from 2005, right? As Rathore sir says very clearly, this is not easy to make the child sit in the classroom, the child with 2 years of age. Yes, with this NUP, with this first line 1.1 on NEP, we are assuring the people, we are assuring that childhood, we are assuring our education system that there is a lot to do in terms of early childhood care and education. That importance has been accepted by the Ministry of Education now. That has made us compulsory education to the pre-primary segment. Friends, it is the hard work, I'll say, it is the hard work of all the private players, those who are consistently, since last 2-3 decades, they are already present, they are already giving the education, that early childhood care and education for that last 2-3 decades, and proved it that yes, this education is compulsory. Friends, it is not only brain development, it is a total overall physical, mental, cognitive, language. Think about a development when we all say that the child is born, he is going to grow, the bone is already there with the child, the body is already there. But now with that growth of body, we need that mind development also. For that developmental stages, that education is compulsory. That was not available, but now with NEP, this compulsory education is there, going to be there. So we are now a part of school education, and that is the good news, that these preschool as an industry, this preschool with their experiences, and they should really a time to celebrate that we are a part of school education right now. I know there are going to be challenges, so no issues. We will face that challenges also. But yes, acceptance is the key from this NEP. And trust me, friends, all part of NEP, we can go through teachers, students, growth, milestone, whatever it is. Take that when a country who is developing at a very good space, right? When we are getting recognized at an early childhood level, it means there is a good intention of the government to bring this education, to bring that quality of education, not only for that children, but it is for that underprivileged children also, which is again mentioned in the NEP. So overall, friends, it is a good move. Everybody should be happy. There will be challenges, but yes, we are there to talk about that part. Even we will talk to government in the other part that what are the challenges you're going to face, and let the industry run with the I'll say the same spirit of bringing education at an early age.
That's so remarkable. I think, Preetham, you summed it up quite well. That the biggest essence of this entire change that's coming is in the involvement and inclusion of the people who've always been left out. And hopefully this policy change will bring in that segment of the society into the mainstream and help us, universalize this entire early childhood education, because I'm sure this policy is not only going to change the private owned schools or the standalone preschools, but it is also going to impact the lakhs of government schools which are running across the countries. And so far, probably they were operating with some Anganwadis and that kind of an informal structure. And that is something which is going to come into the mainstream school integration, which is going to make the sea of difference in the entire framework of how the education and early childhood education is being perceived across the country today. I think, Mr. Rathore, I'd like to come back to you. Preetham has already talked about the challenges which we are going to face in this entire segment and in this entire chain that is going to happen. I have a very pointed question, sir. We are now moving towards a situation where, for the first time, I think in the history of our country, preschool education is going to come under the gamut of the regulations which we always had in the normal schooling space. How do you see these regulations are likely to change, and what will be the impact of these? Because I think there are lakhs and lakhs of female entrepreneurs, especially in the preschooling space, who have entered this industry because of the sheer ease of entering into preschool. You can just rent out a place and then start off on something. How does this entire regulatory framework change going forward? Would it become easier to start a preschool going forward, or do you see it becoming difficult? Just the way you need 100 permissions to start a high school, would that be a kind of scenario, and will it be discouraging for entrepreneurs to enter into this space? Or do you see that inclusion of this entire thing in mainstream education will make it relatively easier?
We can see this document in two ways. One thing, yes, now we have a department to talk with. Because earlier there was no MyBab was there who can take care of preschool people. No quality control was there, no quality checks were there, no quality of teachers were there, no training for the teachers were there. No one was there to check even the infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure. You can start preschool in even a single room. Nobody is going to ask you. You can start a preschool in 1,000 square meters building, huge building. Nobody is going to ask you why you are using this much of space. So now we are going to have proper guidelines to follow. One thing. Second thing, when you were talking about the regulator, whenever the word regulator comes in the picture, lots of issues may arise. local education authorities like district education officer or district education officer, whatever is there. So when we talk of more and more of regulation, lots of issues will be faced in future by women entrepreneurs. Like people like me, people like Pritam or you or Rajiv or anybody who is into the field for so many years can go and take as many permissions are required. But a female who has come out to earn bread and butters by investing a little amount of money, it would be difficult if more of regulations are come into picture. So my take is, our government bodies, the policy makers has made the policies, but the implementation mechanism should be very easy. There must be some guidelines. There must be somebody who can check the kind of infrastructure we have built. There must be somebody who can regularly check the quality what we are maintaining, but should not put lots of pressure so that it will be a hurdle in the operations of the school. One thing. Second thing I want to add, the government authorities should be, I think, should be away from all these kind of things. There must be now the country has moved forward. हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं कि हम विश्व गुरु बनने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. हमारे प्रधानमंत्री कितनी बार बोल चुके हैं कि हिंदुस्तान को एक विश्व गुरु दोबारा से बनना है. उसके लिए हमें रेगुलेशंस कम चाहिए, मिनिमम रेगुलेशन, मैक्सिमम operations. For that, I think the government should come forward and make a group of people, जैसे कि हमारे सरकारों में ग्रुप ऑफ मिनिस्ट्रीज बनता है, ऐसे ही ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल बनना चाहिए जिसमें मेरे जैसे लोग, प्रीतम जैसे लोग, या और भी जो जैसे ECA है, हमारी जो बॉडी है जिसके मैं और प्रीतम वाइस प्रेसिडेंट भी हैं, स्वाति मैडम हैं, वो उसमें पार्ट हों, मेरे जैसे लोग पार्ट हों, और जो लोग हैं, रीजनल लोग हैं, जो रीजनल प्लेयर्स हैं, प्री स्कूल रन कर रहे हैं, the people who have a good track record of delivering good quality preschool education should be a part of that body, and one IAS officer should be heading that body. I think that would make the things better. अगर गवर्नमेंट के रेगुलेशंस बहुत ज्यादा आ जाएंगे तो आई एम श्योर we people are not in a position to deliver what we are delivering for last 20 years, and it would be very difficult for us to encourage women entrepreneurs to come forward to open preschools.
That's so very true, sir. That is so. I think that's right, quite loud and clear a message, something which is a concern across the industry, because it has always been very encouraging for the women entrepreneur to come in and participate in, I would call it a nation building exercise, and I think that is what has been driven completely by the women entrepreneur in this space, and that's what is something which is under a suspicion, or maybe you would say a little bit of a non-clarity at this moment. But I'm sure going forward there would be some sort of regulatory guidelines which should be able to help us understand as to how would this entire framework be implemented, and what would be eventually the impact of this entire regulatory framework coming into the picture to regulate the preschools. Pritam, I think I'd like to hear the second perspective on this same topic, or the same aspect of the discussion of this regulatory framework. Do you think the application of the same regulatory framework, which is probably going to be a challenge for the preschool spaces or individual chain of preschools so far, will this actually become a little positive move for the government-run schools, which will then start taking children at the age of 3 or 3.5 or something, and all the government school will start now taking children from a lower segment of the society who would probably be able to start their education at an early stage. Like you mentioned, first 8 years are very critical for a child's development, and probably because of the government policy of starting government schooling right from class 1, which means that up till class 6 there is no proper structural thought process or a focus given to the child education. And now with this policy, when the children start coming to school, especially the government schools at the age of 3.5, would it make a big difference to that segment of the society?
All right. So let me give you my basic understanding to this part of regulatory or the government implementation of the NEP 2020 for ECCE. Sudhir, it is very, very basic to understand that we already have, at least we have plans in hand, which is approved NEP 2020, so-called, right? But the implementation is going to be very tough because you are talking about adding a new system now. Earlier, early childhood care and education was Anganwadis, and to me, Anganwadis is nothing more than a nutrition midday meals, right? Now, I mean, I am fortunate enough that I've spoken to some IS officers, those who are working on that ground. Very fortunate enough that I spoke to some BOs already in Odisha and Karnataka. Let's not name it, but the ground realities are very different. So you can definitely, awareness is what we have discussed in the last webinar. Somebody said awareness is what which is required right now. Now, anyway, the child is when we are really talking on this part, we have to see that there is a government side of it and there is a private side of it. So government side of it, we all know about it, and they have kept it 2030. By 2030, they want to have this thing, the bottom line, that every child is able to attend the first standard, and those who are school ready, they want to take that school ready till 2030. But we are saying that private school, all the students in private preschools, they are school ready they have already been school ready for the last 30 years now. So there is nothing, I say that let's discuss both the part. Either we want to discuss the government part of it, or we are taking the private part of it. Private part of it, I am sure that there are going to be regulatory framework which will come and which will be positive or negative. But when it is, as Rathore sir very clearly said, these are all women entrepreneurs. आप बहुत ज़्यादा regulatory लेके आओगे, if you are bringing it, either it is going to be very expensive, and you have seen it during the pandemic, 20-30% of the schools are already being closed now, right? So you are bringing more regulatory. It means you are going to bring a lot of framework where the schools will get closed down, or they will not be able to find it out, or you are taking the education away from the existing system itself. हम तो गवर्नमेंट की बात ही नहीं कर पा रहे, और प्राइवेट को भी आप बंद करने में चलोगे तो it will not work out. Let's be very generic. The government of Karnataka in the past has given a very basic framework to run a preschool, define the space which is required. Space doesn't mean the minimum 2,000 square feet or 5,000 and 10,000 square feet. Space should be per child, this should be the square feet. Let's say I have 1,500 square feet and you are talking about a 15 square feet per child. It means I am eligible to take 100 students. But don't make a minimum square feet for the operational. It will not work out. Thousands and lakhs and crores of schools will get closed down. So it should be ease of operation because of some reasons also, Sudhir, that the school children, the pre-primary, the early childhood care education, that children, they are too young to travel. That is one. So that has to be within the vicinity with the residential area or the nearby to their own houses itself, how it is going on right now. आप इसको बोलोगे, it is required 10,000 square feet of land. Sudhir, tell me how many schools will close down in Mumbai? Do you think any preschool will operate in Mumbai?
Absolutely not. I mean,
if you say 2,000 square feet in Mumbai, how many schools will close down in Mumbai for 2,000 square feet? Even lakhs of schools. Mumbai preschools run for even 500, 700 and 1,000 square feet. So bring a regulatory which talks about intake based on the availability of the space. Don't talk about the minimum space required, right? That is one. Second thing, as I was telling to you, these are very young kids. A child who is 2 years, 2.5, 3 years. Let's not talk about the pre-nursery. Let me talk about a nursery child. Nursery child is 3-year-old. He is going to a school for the first time. Think about that child's mindset. He's entering into a school and he sees a very big campus. Very big campus with thousands of children inside. Do you know the fear factor? How difficult, how mentally the child will have pressure to enter to that premises. So isko, when you are using a word called care, उस care को आपको समझना पड़ेगा from the grassroots level. It has to be a preschool only. It has to be that part of school where that motherhoodness is still exists. That care is still exists. That caretaker is still there for that. The teacher is still there for that. So it has to be a small, cozy, comfortable, clean environment. You can talk about CCTV camera. You can talk about water facility. You can talk about sanitation. You can talk about fresh air. You can talk about ample of lighting. Yes, but do not limit with lot many of your regulatory framework that you need 10,000 square feet. You cannot be in a residential area. You have to have a what you call as a playground with 5,000 square feet. You cannot do that. अब बात करेंगे गवर्नमेंट के साथ और प्राइवेट के साथ. We cannot mix up because we do not know where the money will come from to the government part of it. Government ने बहुत अच्छा announcement दिया है. But do we have money to talk about that part? अभी क्या होएगा सुधीर जी, मैं आपको बताता हूँ. राठौर जी, मेरे को जो समझ में आ रहा है, अभी गवर्नमेंट has started talking about मिड डे मील, जो पहले भी चल रहा था. अभी वो 2 टाइम हो जाएगा, राइट? वो ब्रेकफास्ट भी हो जाएगा और वो लंच भी हो जाएगा. अभी हाउ a lot of money will go into the breakfast because वो प्री स्कूल जो चालू कर रहा है आंगनवाड़ीज में, अर्ली चाइल्डहुड, वो ब्रेकफास्ट also will come. I have this kind of small information. Now every Anganwadis will get some toys, थोड़े से, because our policy talks about playway method of education. बहुत सारे एक्टिविटीज, बुक्स बन रहे हैं, एक्टिविटी शीट्स बन रहे हैं, टॉयज बन रहा है. तो every Anganwadis will have a 1 lakh rupee budget कि भाई you take this 1 lakh and start teaching this child with the help of toys and worksheets. It is going to happen in the Anganwadi sector. इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं होने वाला Sudhir ji, because government funds are very limited, and there are, I have to find out how many number of Anganwadis we have. Only 3 districts in Orissa. I'm from a district, I'm from Orissa. Only 3 districts in Orissa has got 2,000 Anganwadis. Think about how many Anganwadis and what kind of budget is required just to start the operation. So it is not a 1-year program, Sudhir. It is going to be a next 10 years program for the government to inculcate that education in the government sector. So usko rehne do, usko chalaiye aap apne hisab se, but let's don't touch in a very strong way. Bring regulation of inspection. Talk about when you are coming for the inspection, talks about the quality of teacher, talks about CCTV camera, talks about water facility, talk about cleanliness, fine. But आप बहुत सारे regulation to start लेके आओगे, as Rathore ji very clearly said, these women entrepreneur will not come forward. Even they have left their well-paid job, so they are so passionate about this young child, they want to give that education. तो उस जो एक momentum है अभी देश का, the country's momentum of a preschool industry, 30,000 crore industry. If you Google it, you will be able to see an industry which is growing at a rate of 25-30%. If you bring a lot of regulations, this industry will have a very big question mark.
That's so very true, Preetham. I mean, I guess I'm glad to have you both on this panel, because you two, with your experience, bring in such insights, whether it is on the regulatory framework, or it is on the entrepreneurship part of the women engagement, or it is on the financial aspect of the support that the Anganwadis and the system will need. And I'm sure it's a long journey going forward. It's not a change which we can probably think of bringing about in a couple of months or years or quarters. It is a decade or probably a couple of decades going forward before we are actually able to meet the actual objectives of it. So I am absolutely in sync with your thoughts that yes, regulations are good to structure it, but then yes, they have to at the same time keep the spirit of entrepreneurship alive and keep nurturing the overall system that is being nurtured by the private sector so far, as Mr. Rathore said, in the last almost 30 years or so. I think I'd now move on to the other aspect of this discussion, and any of you can probably take up this question. one more major change that the policy talks about is that we are now talking about a foundation level which will go up to class 2. So probably, and the way I probably see this from a layman's perspective or from a school administrative perspective, we will either have classes from nursery till class 2 in the preschool space itself, or we will go to a high school and have a segment of preschool to nursery till class 2 in this particular fragment. Would it be a business expansion for a preschool space? Number one, so from a business aspect, and number two, from an academic aspect, how much of a value addition would it be for a child that he's going to go through that cozy environment that Preetham talked about for those 5 years of foundation years? Mr. Rathore, I guess you are having answers. Yeah.
So Sudhir, see, 1 year, 3 to 5, 6 years in preschool, then class 1 and class 2, again on the playway method. What this is the thing what policy document says. So whatever we people are doing in our preschools, pre-nursery, nursery, senior, junior KG, senior KG, these are the 4 standards what preschool people are doing right now. That will remain same. That will remain same. Now what is the situation? Because I have preschools, I have K-12 school. Right now I'm sitting in my K-12 school only. So the kind of issue what we people, K-12 school people faces is the moment a child comes out of preschool after senior KG, enters into first standard in any formal setup, the course burden increases substantially. अभी बच्चा जो प्ले स्कूल में बच्चा होता है वो 3 घंटे के लिए आता है. The child come for 3 hours, and out of those 3 hours, child studies roughly 1.5 hours. Rest of 1.5 hour goes to activities and for the play, for the meal time, and then washroom and this and that. So 1.5 hour increased to maybe 3 hours or 3.5 hours. So kind of pressure a child of 5 years or 6 years faces, that is not good for the child, one thing. And all the K-12 school people faces this challenge. And I have many friends who are into the K-12 school profession. They reduce their course curriculum substantially. जो लोग बहुत ही seriously K-12 स्कूल चला रहे हैं, वो समझते हैं कि बच्चे पे प्रेशर कितना डालना है और वो उस कोर्स कंटेंट को कम करते हैं. कैसे ग्रेजुअली बच्चे को टेकअप करना चाहिए उस क्लास को, वो समझते हैं. Now the NEP 2020 policy document says the kind of playway methodology preschools are already using, that should continue in grade 1 and grade 2. Grade 1 and grade 2 would not be a part of preschool education, but the education of grade 1 and grade 2 would be on the playway methodology. The same way we people are doing in our preschools for last 30 years. Now the government is advocating the way we people are doing in our preschool. And the policy document again says there would be a transition period for 3 months. अगर कोई बच्चा ऐसा है जो प्री स्कूल अटेंड करके नहीं भी आया है किसी भी वजह से, तो 3 महीने तक उसको एक ट्रांजिशन पीरियड होगा और उस ट्रांजिशन पीरियड में वो बच्चा प्लेवे मेथोडोलॉजी पर ही पढ़ रहा होगा. तो आई थिंक अगेन आई कैन से दिस इज अ गुड मूव. The burden on the child will reduce. Till 2nd grade, the child will feel I am in the play school, though he has transit from preschool to formal school setup, and उसको पता भी नहीं लगा कि वो कब preschool education से formal school education setup में अपने आप को adjust कर चुका है. So grade 1 and grade 2 will never be a part of preschool. If you wanted to add these 2 grades in your preschool, you have to take permission from the basic Shiksha Adhikari, what he says in different states. So I think government, what Preetham said, government should take up this. We cannot be compared with the Anganwadis or Balwadis. And why government is doing this job here? I always advocate government should ask people like us to come forward to take up the Anganwadis also. The cost per student, what government is spending in Anganwadis, we are doing in much lesser cost in our private schools. Though we have our rental premises, though we are paying the salaries. The quality of education, even the quality की तो बात ही करना दूर है, there is no education in Anganwadis. Anganwadi is a midday meal center. So how can government change the mindset of the people who are employed for running Anganwadis to become, early childhood educators? Those people are there to serve the meals only. And even the officials who are taking care of a number of Anganwadis, maybe I think 100 Anganwadis के लिए एक officer कोई होगा या 200 Anganwadis के लिए एक officer होगा. Even that officer doesn't have that kind of mindset. So we need to, how can in 10 years of the time, और उस 10 years में से एक साल pandemic में चला गया, how can we change the mindset of our people? This is the very difficult task.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's so insightful, sir. I think that's something which is probably a need of the hour, that we need to have an integrated system where the private players like you and Preetham and the other stakeholders that we have in the industry can probably come forward and bring in. And you very rightly said that we guys are doing it at much lesser the cost than what the government is spending on a per child basis. I have some people who asked some questions on the webinar here, which is pertaining to the quality of education. And number two, Preetham, is a question which again relates to quality, but also to some unethical practices and the number of schools which are mushrooming, which has probably led to some sort of a deterioration in the quality of preschools also. Because, in this entire competitive scenario that the preschool industry is, like you mentioned, there are preschools which are running in 1 rooms or 500 square feet of areas and stuff like that. How does, this entire industry framework or the policy work which is documented take care of the quality of education? Do you think this policy document, when it standardizes or lays down certain quality benchmarks, would that element be adding to the quality of education that we all are delivering as preschool educators across the country on a common platform, having a common curriculum and common learning objectives?
Thank you, Sudhir, and thank you. I can see Asha talking about this question. And Sudhir, let's be very generic here. We people are entrepreneurs. We are all into businesses, and let me talk to you something very. See, I can say something else, but I want to be a real Preetham to talk when I'm really speaking on a forum, and which is a closed forum, let's say. And I'm speaking to my friends, so let's be very practical. Now, everything comes at a price, which you need to agree on this, Sudhir. Let's not debate that there is a one bedroom preschool. But have you ever thought about lakhs of schools running into 2,000 and 4,000 square feet of school premises? Have you ever seen Mumbai? I can show you, not Mumbai, every state there will be a lakh of schools. Those who are running into 2,000 square feet and 4,000 square feet, and they are running up to 7th standard and 6th standard. Are you all aware of it? Why we are only talking about preschoolers? As because that has been seen, that is mushrooming, because that is required. Let's not debate on the quality, because you pay for the price of quality. That is very, very true. Right? And that is the requirement. Now, see the industry in two different perspectives. आपको mushrooming दिख रहा है कि आपको quality दिखना है? आपको quality चाहिए तो there are preschools available. There are preschools available. I'll tell you, there are preschool available. Those who are charging even 3,000 rupees per day for a 2-hour session. And if I say that is almost like a 4 lakhs rupees, 200 working days. If I say it is very less, I know preschool, those who are charging 10 lakhs rupees per year, right? For a 200 days of working, which comes to 5,000 rupees for a 2 hours or a 3-hour session, right? So we are here to debate about quality of education. See, it definitely there are CBSE schools that are governed by the CBSE, but the 90% of the students are getting failed from that school, but CBSE has approved that schools. They still have the, let's say, the affiliation intact, even they have 50%, 30% results. So what we are looking for, हमें आंसर कौन सा चाहिए सुधीर जी? Bring regulations, right? Bring regulation, bring framework, bring your audit system to be very good. अब यहाँ पे approval, you cannot restrict people to open schools. You cannot restrict anybody to do any businesses. And you cannot restrict a parent to go to this school or that school, because that is everything is demand, supply, and the price, what you pay and what quality the school delivers to you. Right? Now Mumbai has got a scarcity of schools. Go to any schools in Mumbai, within, I'll say whatever this thing is, every school is full. So let bring some audit processes, right? It is not, again, there are a lot of different audit processes. ECA, as again, I work for ECA, so I'm not saying that I'm a part of ECA, I'm saying this. They do, it is not mandatory. They do have a, what you call as quality certification. There will be someone from ECA will go and visit your school. They will talk to your teachers. They'll give you a framework, work on that framework, they will talk to the teachers. They'll come and see your class. They'll come and see your books, classes, assessment, teachers, caretakers, everything. And they will certify that it is a certified preschools. It means they do have some basic standard of education. Higher standard, we will not be able to measure it, but yes, a basic standard can be easily defined, right? And mushrooming, sorry, because of this mushrooming preschool, now we are on NEP 2020. ये मुझे कोई शर्म नहीं आने वाला कि वो आंटी रनिंग स्कूल था, वो अंकल रनिंग स्कूल था. Because of that running school, government have seen that this is required, so now let's make it compulsory. Now, quality, those who are really charging fees, they are able to give quality, that is for sure. And those who are not charging fees, it means the parents are not willing for that quality. They are sending it for that play. And as a parent, let understand, forget about that part. At least your child is going to a place, spending some time, spending some quality time with other children. Take that part as the best part of that education. ऐसा हम नहीं बात कर सकते. Thousands of schools. Who said the school is best enough? Why, if they are best, they are not taking every admission. They are only taking the best of the students and they are saying we are the best of the schools. That is one concept which I have never accepted the day I joined the school system in India. आप लोग अपने आप को स्कूल अच्छा बोलते हो because आपको अच्छे बच्चे मिलते हैं. You do have a admission process. कि admission process entrance test होता है आप लोगों का. Only people, those who had 90% of the mark. Why SRCC is the best college in India? Because their cut-off marks is 99%. If you see that you are the good school, take the first 100 comers for that 100 seats. That's it. Make the child know. A school is good or a school education system is good. You want a good school or you want a good education system? Exactly. So if you are a good education system, why you are hesitate to take any children? So similarly, I don't expect, I see everything as a very clear कि आप जितना पैसा देते हो आपको उतना क्वालिटी मिलता है, which is for 100% justice to that part of business. And do not restrict anybody for any businesses, even it is education. We are ready to pay 50% tax if government says we won't tolerate. It is like other businesses, how a company pays a 35% tax, even we are ready to pay 35% taxes. Why you see that schools are like a machine, schools are like a businesses? What injustice we are doing charging the fees? What injustice we people have done it to the society? Nothing. It is, we do not, this is the only business which we do not know when we are going to earn money out of it. Every other businesses calculate their cost and these things. But this is the only business where people give a passion, the time and the research available, the best of the world without expecting immediate something benefits. So Sudhir ji, इस चीज को हमें समझना पड़ेगा. Those who are asking this question, if you are a part of this system, ये सब सवाल बंद करो. ये इंडस्ट्री हम बोलते हैं, सर हमने बनाया इस इंडस्ट्री को. राठौर जी बोल रहे हैं ना, 1995 से he is struggling to talk to someone कि भाई मुझे किसी से बात करना है. Since 2005, I was waiting for someone to talk. And सबको लगता है स्कूल वाले, they have big money, they have big grounds, they have big buildings. Are, if you think it is so easy, it is so this thing, that why don't you join and start a school? Find it out.
That's so true, Preetham. I'm sure, and I'm glad you're speaking right from your heart. No,
मैं कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता कि जो मैं बाद में जाके बोलूं कि I was just on a showpiece. I don't want to be like a puppet on a screen.
It's a pleasure and honor having you with us, Preetham. I'm sure everybody in the education system and every stakeholder understands these points. I can relate to every word which you've said, and I'm sure Mr. Rathore would equally agree with the whole idea. It's really not about the profits. It's really not about the investments. It's practically about what is it that our population is able to afford. And like you very rightly said, there are different segments of our society which have got different expectations. There are different entrepreneurs who are investing at different levels, and therefore there are different fee structures, and everything is available, right from a free education to what you mentioned, 3,000 rupees per hour kind of structure. So that is something which is there, and I'm sure the new policy and the regulatory framework should be able to take care of these aspects. Mr. Rathore, I think we're nearing the end of session. Any remarks that you would probably want to add here in terms of what should be the goal or the objectives that we should try and pursue, like Preetham said, going beyond this quality aspect or the space aspect of it. I loved one of the points which Preetham said, that let's forget about the bare minimum space required. Let's talk about the per child space required. That's a fabulous way of putting it up, that if I have 1,000 square feet space and I can take care of 100 kids in it or 50 kids in it, and I do justice with those 50 kids, that's something which is where the objective is met. Would you like to add some closing remarks on what should be the thought process or the direction in which we should take this policy and try and implement it so that we are able to achieve the objectives of quality education, of the entrepreneurship sustainability, and at the same time having a standardization within the regulatory framework?
Yes, Sudhir. Sudhir, we have in our hands the policy documents, NEP 2020. But the guidelines to implement, operational document has to come. And one more thing, education is a part of state government. This is state government who has to take care of the education policies of their own state. And we have already seen what happened with the that transport bill, which transport motor vehicle act approved by central government. So every state has the right to do some changes. My concern is that policy document. This is a beautifully defined policy document. This policy document should be implemented by all the states in the spirit and the words. And again, I will advocate, this is very difficult for the government to implement it on the ground. You and me and even the government officials, even the Prime Minister of the country, even the chief ministers of all the states knows what is the condition of government K-12 schools or primary schools. What is the conditions of Anganwadis? The spirit behind, coming out with the concept of Anganwadi was good. The policy was good. Intention of the government was very good. They just wanted to give quality early childhood education through Anganwadi. But the people who has the responsibility to implement those, policies on the ground, they didn't justify their work. So my concern, and the people like me, like Preetham and everybody who is into this field for 15, 20, 30 years, I have spent my whole, I can say the whole life. 20 years I went to this field.
That's a lifetime.
Yeah, 15, 16, 17 years Preetham has given to this field. And there are people who have given 30 years, 40 years to this field. So there are so many people in the country who has given their whole career to this field. And now what we can see, the private players are doing good job and the government is not doing good job. So my concern is government should thought progressively and ask the private players to come forward to take over their Anganwadis on PPP model. Whatever the government is spending on per child in the Anganwadi, they can ask us to bid for that. And I'm sure people like me, people like Pritam, people like other brands, they will make the changes. Whatever this policy document is advocating, we people are here to implement that. 100% quality we will deliver. But politics नहीं आनी चाहिए इसमें. हमारी जो जितनी भी पॉलिसीज बनती हैं उस पे पॉलिटिक्स शुरू होती है और वो पॉलिसी एक डॉक्यूमेंट बन के रह जाती है, ग्राउंड पे इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं होती. इवन इन K-12 also, I just wanted to take 2-3 more minutes. In K-12 education also, 1 or 2 states come forward with the PPP model. 3 years back, I had meeting with Chief Minister of one of the states, one-to-one meeting in Delhi itself. I had, and like me, there are another 10-15 educators who had one-to-one meeting with Chief Minister of that particular state. I don't want to give the name of Chief Minister in the state. And he was so aggressive to give the schools on PPP model. He was, the plan what he was discussing was so beautiful. I appreciated that Chief Minister. So, कि देश में कम से कम एक चीफ मिनिस्टर तो ऐसा है जो ऐसी बात सोच रहा है. बट उस स्टेट में आज तक पीपीपी मॉडल पे कोई भी स्कूल नहीं दे पाए वो, बिकॉज के पॉलिटिक्स सामने आ गई. अगर वो पीपीपी मॉडल पे स्कूल दिए गए होते तो शायद वहां के बच्चों को भी अच्छी एजुकेशन आज मिल रही होती. गवर्नमेंट शुड सेव द मनी, गवर्नमेंट शुड डिलीवर द गुड क्वालिटी एजुकेशन थ्रू वी पीपल.
सर मेरे पास जो फिगर है 8,000 रुपी पर मंथ पर चाइल्ड इज द minimum expenses on the education in India right now.
Yeah. National, this is the national figure.
Around 8,000 plus change rupees per child per month is government expenses on education.
Sir, I am sitting in my Greater Noida school. There is a beautiful campus of more than 5 acres. And we are charging 4,500 rupees fees for the nursery student. And the highest fees for the 12th standard, grade 12 is I think 7,000 rupees. So I welcome the government to give me 4,500 rupees and save the 3,500 rupees in their account.
That's an astonishing figure.
Like the gas connection, they should transfer 3,000 rupees to the parents' account for the child's education.
Yes.
That's true. And that's a revolutionary move. I mean, if that something happens like a DBT transfer.
Or government, I tell you, Sudhir, in many of the corporates, they give some, coupons. बोनस में कुछ कूपन देते हैं ना, जाके एक्सचेंज करते हैं किसी भी रिटेल स्टोर पे और वहां से कुछ ग्रोसरी लेते हैं.
Sodexo coupons.
Sodexo coupon, yes, because I never used, तो मुझे नाम ठीक से याद नहीं था. Sodexo coupon. Government should give those kind of coupons to the parents, and parent can go to any school and admit his or her child, और हर महीने वो कूपन देके फीस एडजस्ट कराए. उस कूपन को हम लोग कैश करा लें गवर्नमेंट से.
That's a revolutionary idea, sir. In fact, I'll share with you, this is something which has already been done by a lot of private companies. So we've got our schools in Hyderabad where multinational companies are giving monthly, education vouchers to their employees, which can be redeemed across any school. So they've got partners with almost 30-35 schools in Hyderabad. And you could probably go there and just say that, okay, I'm a member of so-and-so consortium and so company is the one who's going to fund the education for the child of their employee. Now, if the private sector can be innovative in that space and go on to spend that money, and the figure that Pritam has just quoted, that's like an astonishing number. And with that kind of a figure per month, I'm sure we as private players can do a tremendously better job and improve the quality, deliver best of the standards, and that's fairly possible. I know it for a fact that it is.
And Sudhir, if government do like this, तो वो ये प्रॉब्लम भी खत्म हो जाएगी. वो स्कूल महंगा है, वो स्कूल सस्ता है. Now this is the choice of the parent. उसको एक 3,000 रुपए का गवर्नमेंट से वाउचर मिला, वो 8,000 वाले स्कूल में पढ़ाना चाहता तो 5,000 अपनी जेब से देगा. ही इज नॉट गोइंग टू आस्क एनीबॉडी कि भाई मेरा बच्चा की फीस ज्यादा है. दैट इज हिज चॉइस कि उसने गवर्नमेंट से 3,000 लिया, 5,000 अपनी जेब से डाल के 8,000 वाले स्कूल में डाला.
That's so true, sir. So I think that is what is needed, you know, with people like you too. These are the kind of inputs that will be required when we go on to implement this entire process to make it active, make it effective at the grassroots level. With this, I think I'll bring this discussion to an end, sir. Thank you so much, Preetham, and thank you so much, Mr. Rathod, for your time. Those were valuable inputs. We have the recordings of these sessions, and this is live on Facebook as well. We'll definitely share all the links with all our audiences and you too as well. And I hope that some people in the statutory segments, and I'm sure we are going to put it forward to ECA as well, which will be able to put our words and voice forward to the government and the implementation authorities to make it very effective and bring about the change for which the NEP document is brought into existence. Thank you so much, everyone in the audience. Thanks, Preetham. Thanks, Mr. Rathod. Once again.
Thank you, Sudhir.
Thank you so much, Sudhir. And प्रीतम और मैं तो इन सब चीजों पे बहुत ही aggressively बात करते हैं. Actually, the kind of experience we people have, I tell you, just to change the name of my school, CBSE का सब कुछ ऑनलाइन है, पोर्टल पे है, सब कुछ ऑनलाइन है. It took almost 1.5 years. Where is the ease of doing business? और अभी तो एक स्कूल का चेंज हो गया, दूसरे स्कूल का चेंज नहीं हुआ है, उसको भी सेम टाइम पर अप्लाई किया था, इसको भी सेम टाइम पर अप्लाई किया. तो इनको थोड़ा सा क्लैरिटी लाने पड़ेगी सिस्टम में. तो ये है. Okay, thank you so much, Sudhir, and thank you, team Scujo, for inviting us and having this kind of discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to all the listeners.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, sir. Do have a great evening. Wish you all a very happy Dussehra and going forward. Yeah. And we look forward to having you back on our platform. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Namaste, Rathod ji. Bye.
Namaskar, Preetham. Thank you so much.
Bye, sir.